Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to show you how I plan out my custom neighborhoods. We're going to be using my university neighborhood as an example since I got inspired to actually start decorating it recently. And if you're interested, I did use the Zane's Hollow C map, which I found on Mod The Sims. You are able to make your own maps with SimCity 4, but I have yet to figure it out. So I just tend to use the ones that are already in game, or I download one. So I kind of ran over this in my last video where I show you my favorite Sims 2 maps, but as a quick rundown, my main requirement is the map should be 90% flat where the roads are placed. It's just so it makes it easier for me to build on. Since we are going to be using my university as an example, I specifically wanted this to be smaller than my main neighborhood. But the size is up to you though, do whatever you think is the best. A great tip is I'll just create neighborhoods with a ton of maps and then figure out which one I like best, and then I'll keep that one and just delete the others. So for me, I like to place community lots and apartments, or in this case, dorms, near the center of the map. I like to consider the city part of the map to be in the middle and the residential area is kind of off to the sides. I kind of model it after real life. Like where I work, there's a ton of shops and restaurants all within like one street, and then surrounding it are houses and apartments. Now, how do I choose what community lots to place in the neighborhood? So for a main hood, I usually have a few requirements. I like to have at least one cemetery, one restaurant, a gym, a park, a grocery store with harvestable fruits and vegetables and stuff, and then a clothing store. As long as I have these buildings, I can build whatever miscellaneous stuff I want to fill the rest of the gaps in the neighborhood. Since this is a college neighborhood, I don't really need a few of these, but I'll most likely just replace it for something else. I have mods that make college pretty short anyway, so my Sims aren't here long. Like for example, I chose to build a train station inspired after one I went to in the Chicago suburbs a few months ago. Obviously in The Sims it has no purpose, it's just mainly there for fun and decoration. But I like to imagine the Sims enrolling in Bloomberry Institute have to take the train or a taxi or something to get here since it's pretty far from the main neighborhood. I never used this bullet train decoration, so I feel like it fit nicely with what I was trying to do. Unfortunately, there is no cave decoration, so I use these big old boulders to kind of simulate one. I also decided to build a theater for the drama students. Again, it has no purpose, but it's there for decoration. I actually built this one last week, and as I went to save, the game crashed. So right now the lot is blank, but I do plan on rebuilding it eventually. Get creative with these things though. Even if there is no purpose for these buildings, it does make your neighborhood unique and fun. Besides, if you get tired of the buildings you made later on, you can always move it somewhere or bulldoze it and make something else. I've already done that a handful of times in my main neighborhood. I like to think maybe it's like the town evolving or upgrading. Lot sizing, I do have a difficult time with, but I try to mess around and see what I think works best. I personally like to build on small to medium lots. Bigger builds are just hard for me in general to decorate personally. They're just way too big and I don't know what to really use to fill in the gaps. I'll pretty much place a lot and name it what I plan to build there, and I keep going until I don't have much room anymore. If I don't like the sizes, I bulldoze and start over. But this current layout I'm pretty happy with, so after I'm satisfied I usually go back and name the buildings. Now, how do I come up with names? I use name generators. One of my favorite websites is Mithril and Mages. I think I'm pronouncing that right. But not only does it give you names for pretty much anything, but it also gives you some business ideas for community lots. I'll also use some fantasy name generators sometimes. I'll link both websites in the description. I also found one that someone made specifically for Sims 2 neighborhood names. It's pretty good. Sometimes too, I'll also search for synonyms for something and I'll use that as well. That's actually how I came up with the name of my university. So doing all these is great if you're ever stumped on names or if you have a tendency to use the same thing over and over again and kind of want to change it up. Since the Sims mascot is the llama, a lot of my buildings in university have llama in the name. And for the dorms, I actually named them after types of flowers for whatever reason. Every neighborhood I've ever created, the road names I come up with are all nature themed, so it's usually trees or like types of flowers. I can't help it though. Having a theme though can make it easier with naming stuff and keeps everything cohesive. I don't really have much advice on decorating. I usually just go with what feels right with the neighborhood. Around the community lots and dorms here, I did place the university street banners, which I never used, so I thought it was nice. You see these a lot when you go like downtown or like on a college campus in real life anyway, so I like to take some inspiration from that. And the theater I was just talking about, I actually placed some of the nightlife lights here, and it's a nice touch since I never use these. And over here we do have like the river. I always add the waves decoration whenever there's water in my neighborhood. They do take a lot of time to place correctly, but the result is always stunning. Trees I almost always place last. I tend to use those to surround the hood. And you can view my Skyline Acres neighborhood as an example. There is a ton of trees there. I will also go to the pre-made neighborhoods and get inspiration from that. It might be an unpopular opinion, but I do like how EA and Maxis decorated those. Very simplistic, but very cute. Now, for descriptions for the lots and neighborhoods, they are the most difficult thing about planning this entire thing personally. I usually always save those for last, or I just leave it empty. A great tip is wait until everything is built so you can kind of see where you want to go with it. And especially with the neighborhood descriptions, I like to move some Sims in and play them for a bit to see how the story progresses. As an extra tip, this has nothing to do with the actual neighborhood, but if you ever run out of room in your main neighborhood, you can always create a shopping district. I use it as a secondary hood anyway. I currently don't need to do that at this time, but usually I almost always add another one after I play for a couple generations. And I believe that is all my tips. I'll also make a Tumblr post with all this info if you want to keep a reference for yourself. Or if you just want to rewatch this video, that is also fine as well. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching my video today. I do appreciate it a lot. And hopefully I'll see you all in my next video. Bye bye.